Hello. So today we're going to take a look at the In Combat mecha books. See here, they're from Ammo Mig, and I've had these for a while now, and I thought, well, the Christmas season's coming up, like they're good Christmas present-y things. They're about £35, or 25, £30-ish. So they make nice little gifts for people who are interested in modelling. You'll have to give the extended area, but it's really hard to show an A4 book within a painting frame. So please ignore the outskirts. So this is the 3rd edition. I'm not sure what the edition's changed, and this is in English. When you're buying this, keep an eye on the language, because I believe MIG's native language is not English. So it publishes books in 2 different languages, and you'll want to try to get the English ones. And you can find these in most stores online will sell these in some fashion. So take a look inside, which I'm sure is very entertaining, and I can't talk today. So we start off with just a basic how to weather, build a kit. It's really not that fancy. You'll find this in lots of online tutorials. It's nothing really complex here, sort of weathering with sponges, bit with brushes, different types of things to use. They often use MIG products in here, but you don't have to use those. I would say here on this page, the posing's a little awkward on the Gundam. Don't know why you would pose it like that, but it's just a little uncomfortable to look at. It's not posed quite right. And posing needs its own video tutorial or description. But again here, just posed a bit awkward. It looks a bit dumpy. It's kind of leaning forward a bit. Stumpy little legs. It's just not posed right, especially the hands. The hands are very awkward there. So maybe that's an area that I could improve in the future. But it's just a standard weathering guide. How to add chips and stuff on the side, scratches. It's not bad advice. I'd say some of it's a little over weathered, but you don't have to weather that much. And if I'm going to do a tutorial on weathering, I bet I'll show you a really heavily weathered kit. The original Gundam there, and then the weathered version. I think the weathered version looks better, but I'd say it's maybe a little over weathered. I don't think you're gonna get rusting like this on a mobile suit. They're just not the kind of things that's going to rust in that fashion. But hey, it looks like a nice kit. Small pictures, before afters again. So there's a 30 odd page tutorial. Gun tank again, same thing's nice here. Very heavily weathered gun tank. It's nice to see the gun tank actually get featured. It's pretty rare. And it's nowhere near as in depth, but it gives you a good look, a nice faded look. So similar tutorial in weathering, lots of similar details, but they've gone for a weathered look on this. There's some value in having the 2 kits together. Here we've got a nice Zugok. I think it was based on a watermelon, I want to say, but I'm not positive on that. And it's nice to see some unique colours, some advice on how to get nice transitions and such. Although Zugoku, yeah, I'm not sure where that comes from translation wise, since there's official ones. Here's where stuff actually kind of gets interesting in these books, when you get away from the Gundam stuff. And here I think this is a Votum's kit, and lots of squeaking this way. See, lots of custom details going into this, lots of interesting building stuff, some resin parts, scratch building here, like most of this kit. And the light hates the book. See, a lot of this is scratch built, a lot of scratch done details, especially see on this page. Like, if I'm going to be paying for tutorials these days, I want them to be like this. I want almost not a completely scratch built, but I want heavy scratch building involved, because these days online videos are just so good. It's not worth paying for a standard tutorial anymore, if that makes sense. And I don't often pick up books and magazines, but I do enjoy these ones. So again, the Votum's kit. That's heavy detailed. Now Sazabi. I think this is just a showcase though. It is a showcase of different kits, just a gallery, and Kind of wasted space, kind of nicely used. I'm not going to complain, it's looking at nice kits. There's a nice Zaku, a GM. Yeah, like, it's not so bad stuff. His, I think, is a custom built one. It's the concept art and then put it together. I quite like the 80s style this has got here. So that interests me. And some more heavily weathered kits. I think it's Metal Gear which has been customised. Then we get onto these styles which I want to call it the Neo Geo style, which I'm not sure who the designer was, but it's very big, fat, clunky skirt armours. And I like those designs. I wouldn't build them myself, but I like the designs. And then we've got some armoured core kits, again gallery. Half this book is just a gallery, but usually when you're buying books I don't mind that too much, because when you're picking these books up you're not following the guides perfectly, often because there's so much scratch building involved. But you kind of just want to browse through and see what's interesting, what you could kind of take away from it, and does a good job of that. So on to the second one, and this is In Combat Mecha Battles 2. Metal Battlegrounds 2 even, and this one's a bit thicker I think. It's got a more sturdy cover, which unfortunately makes it hard to do. We start with the Ale Strike, and if I recall I wasn't too keen on this one. I think this is the PG Ale Strike, and it's a nice just standard build of it, it doesn't look bad there. We get to a first time diorama guide, and I quite like this guide. See, nice. Here's how you plan it out, put it together, and building it. Put the plaster on. I like where that's going. It doesn't do much on the kit, but I don't think it needs to do much on the kit. It does offer some weathering advice. Sort of light and shadow playing on the kit, you can see up there. But then how that applies to you very much depends on the diorama you're doing. And on the finished kit, you can see here it's more noticeable on camera than in the actual book. So I'm not sure how useful that is, especially when you apply real light to it, but I like this diorama anyway. I quite enjoy the diorama. It's very simple. It's mostly just trees and mud. See, trees, mud. It's very simple, but it works, and I value that a lot in diorama. Like, to hear the small details of the people, which don't appear on camera very well. Some people there who are looking up at the dogger. See him there more in silhouette. So yeah, it's not the greatest tutorial ever, but it's enough to inspire you, which is enough. So here. This is a kit I really like, the Zaku one, and I really enjoy the style done here. You can see the over weathered, and then down it paints over the blue. I really like the way this kit turned out, and I tried to copy it and just could not pull it off. So I need to keep trying, but I took something from this book, went, this is interesting, and I tried to apply it to another kit. And if that's what you get out of the guide, that's good. This is a master grade one, I think. If you look at the hands, it's master grade. Yeah, master grade, based on the TriStar Zaku. And yeah, copying that. I tried it on a smaller grade and couldn't pull it off. Maybe it needs to be a bigger grade. But I really like that kit, and I like the style of it. It's sort of a nice, unique style which you wouldn't see in most magazines. Most magazines have a very safe style most people can copy, whereas this is something a bit more unique. And then we have the candy coated Sazabi, and oh boy, I never want to try candy coating in my life. Everything has to be perfect to pull it off, and here's how you do it basically. See, very nice shiny red, very detailed descriptions here telling you how to polish it down and everything. Kit looks fantastic. And if you're going to go for top tier stuff, candy coating's the way to go. Then we get on to Patlabor, which is a nice police robot. And this is a nice little kit. I like, it's not a complex build, but I do like the way it goes. In the end, it looks pretty nice. There's also a little diorama around it, which doesn't really tell you how to build. But I like this style of weathering. It shows weathering white in a different way to what it's used before and in the first book. So again, that is decent inclusion there. Using light and shadow in a diorama. Very interesting guide to read. Very difficult to give a quick skim through. But he does heavy heavy light play. Which, if you're going to be taking photos, fantastic. Building diorama in this way. If you're doing it in person, you need these boxes to control where the light's coming in. But it looks nice. It's an interesting build. And over here he's even painted in shadows. Which, hey, never done it. Sounds interesting. I'm actually quite impressed with the little figures being painted. They are very difficult to paint to a high quality. And he's pulled it off well. And here we go for another almost complete scratch build. It's a resin kit. Yeah, that is an amazing build. They can see all the different stuff we use here. Ladybug toy. I think the lighters. And God knows what half the stuff for this is, because I don't think even he knows. But yes, that's an amazing build. And one thing I really like about this is you see a lot of custom builds. And they are clusterfucks. There is no way to explain, but it's a clusterfuck where you can't tell what's going on anyway. It's like 12 shields coming off, 3 ankle guards. It's a big old block of stuff, but you can tell what it is. When you look at this, you can tell sort of skirt armor, arms, head. You can tell what's actually going on. It tells you how to do all the weathering, and the weathering here is beautiful. I cannot say how nice this weathering is. It's absolutely divine. There's the full kit with the satellite behind it. Very, very nice kit. I enjoyed reading the article. And here's my issue I said with Start to Strike. This is just a bit of a mess. And it kind of lets the book down. There's a bit of dazzle camo effect up there, which is something I want to try. But the way it comes out, it's just a mess. It's got a backstory of how it's supposed to be like a sentient Gundam. Those already exist. In fact, I think, did we just have the Sentinel? The Sentinel's a sentient Gundam. And yeah, it's a mess. I don't know what is really included. If I saw a first time person building this kit and wearing this, I'd be like, yeah, you got some stuff going on. Maybe try and refine it a bit. In a published book you're paying for, really not keen on it. We have this nice diorama with the Zaku cannon. And I enjoy this diorama as well. While it's mostly a simple build to begin with. See all the standard stuff. Bit of camo on there. It's the weathering where it becomes interesting. So here you got a very dark black bottom. Where you're like, well, we want dirt on the bottom. But because here it's in an oil refinery, there's weathering for dust and oil mixed together. And it's an interesting idea. Some scratch building here to get the refinery itself. The very nice oil spot technique. Top there. Which you see all over the place. But it's put to nice effect here. It's a really nice refinery build. All the oil weathering. I'm trying not to show everything, but at the same time give a good idea what's in the book. So there's the finished diorama. It's very hard to get in picture. So yep, I think there's one more building this. It is a resin kit on the 00. So it becomes a 00 riser. And it's, I think it's the PG. Yeah, perfect grade plus resin conversion kit. And that's just a nice kit. It's not super fancy, but it's reasonably nice. See there, the finished kit. And then some advertisements for the Weather and magazine, which I believe Mig also does. They also do Damaged, and I plan to review that soon because I quite like that magazine, and I think there's some very worthwhile stuff in there. So here are the 2 books, In Combat 1 and 2, and they have both the 3rd edition here. I'm not sure which I'd say is a standout book. I think this has better content, but this has more good content. checking the thickness. This is almost twice as thick as this one. So yeah, this has more content, but there's some of it which I don't think is very interesting, as we just gone through. I think this repeats some of what's in this one. Second repeats some of what's in the first, but your building gunfire is going to be repetition anyway. Repetition. That's a word. So like, I think this build itself is a standout one of this issue, and here the space. As for which these I'd recommend, honestly I'm not very sure. They both have a lot of good content in them. Like the scratch building stuff in here is very nice, but with this one being twice as thick, there's also some more what I'd call filler content in here, which there's one straight up bad building here, I'd say. So which would I recommend? I'm not really sure. It depends what you're going for. Depending on which kit you've got the most interesting, because they've both got worthwhile content, but I think the first book has content repeated in the second one, but in some cases the first one's done it a bit better. So if I was going to recommend a single one, I'd struggle and say, well, I'm more interested in the weathering side of things or the candy coating side of things. If you're an experienced builder, I'd definitely go for the second one, because the scratch building in here is much more impressive with this kit, the Ladybug one. Just much more impressive. The diorama information is bettering this one. So for experienced builder, this is probably the book to go for. But as a new builder, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just getting the first one and following that through, which, while it is thinner and has less info in it, it has the core information you want, and this will get you to an intermediate level faster than this will, but this will get you to an advanced level because it's teaching you the resin kits, the candy coating, scratch building to a high degree. Where there's nothing wrong with the scratch building in the first book. The scratch building in the second book is it's the next level. This is detailing up. This is scratch building an entire kit, more or less. So which would I recommend? Beginners this one, advanced people this one. If you've got the cash, go for both. If it's Christmas list, stick them both on and see what you can get. I hope that's a useful book review. Christmas, I said, is coming up, so I figure some people are going to want to order these things. So I already have them. So take a look at them, and yeah, they're good value for money if you're looking for inspiration or just want to have something on hand to reference, not just on a computer. And they've got enough good stuff in them to get you going. So thanks for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a Ko-fi link down below, and the comments and subscriptions and such are always appreciated. It's a growing channel, and the more people I have around, the more stuff I can do, and the more book reviews I can do. So thanks for watching.